So welcome back. We hope you enjoyed your meal. Jackie and I are presenting and working with you this afternoon on establishing networks. So we started this morning because we wanted to have a foundation of some information that's probably something that you may not always share. This afternoon, though, our goal is to try to establish some actual work connections and ways that we can share knowledge and that we can continue to participate with each other and support each other and get those networks going. Before I continue, I wanted to say, I thought about this later, that my personal family is a very system U of H family. So my dad graduated from U of H Clear Lake. I graduated from U of H Clear Lake. My brother graduated from U of H downtown. My sister graduated from U of H. And we're a U of H family. We actually, all four of us, my husband and I, come to U of H every day with both of our kids who go to U of H charter school and U of H childcare. So we are a U of H family for the whole system.
I'm an Aggie, but don't hold that against me, please.
So this is exciting because I'm going to take these home to my kids and tell them this is where I went to school. Okay, so what we wanted to talk about today was basically everyone has something to offer to everyone else. There are pieces of information that you have and knowledge that you have that you can share, and that's what we're trying to do today. We know that the Texas Roundup was just one of those things where it was family and personal information, but now we're ready to move on. Our first discussion is going to be on sharing knowledge. So knowledge is of no value unless you put it into practice. If you are just keeping it there for yourself, it's not helping anyone. So what we're going to be doing for the first part is that we're going to be sharing some knowledge. Knowledge, the definition, I had to look it up because I wanted to make sure it was accurate. So it's facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. So that was the one that I looked it up to make sure that it was accurate. If you open your booklet to the workshop, you can actually have some questions that we're going to be going over and discussing. So hopefully you can see those questions. What we are going to be asking you to do is to answer those questions in your booklet. Those are on your personal pieces of information, your personal knowledge that you have, and what do you feel like you could share with others. So I went ahead and did this. And for me, I said, what knowledge do I have that I can share with someone else? My knowledge that I feel like I can share is that I have been having to update some of the SAMs. So I am experienced now with the process for updating a SAM. So that sometimes people know that, sometimes they don't, but it's been a very interesting piece for me to know, and I have that knowledge now. Can you name a time or give an example when you have shared knowledge? So I have actually had to explain this process to other people in our group who have also had to update a SAM. Number 3, what knowledge have you received from someone else? So I can tell you that Peggy Levy is the subject matter expert. I do not pretend to be a subject matter expert on that particular piece, but that's where I get my knowledge from also. And then what knowledge are you hoping to find from fellow facility staff today? Well, for me, the best way to connect with the other universities, because I know that we have some SAMs that impact everyone in this room, and I need to know who it is that I'm meant to be contacting to make sure that we have the buy-in for the changes that we're proposing. So it's one of those things I would love to know who it is that I'm supposed to be connecting with in order to get that process through. So that's how I completed those questions, and I encourage you right now that you need to complete those questions. Did you have anything? Nope. Okay, on the tables, we also have a loose paper, and if you notice, all of the words are changed. Instead of what you are doing, it's what we are doing. So once you've completed what you can share and what knowledge you have, then you're supposed to be talking about it with each other and writing down on the loose paper what it is that combined you can do. You may want to individually write all of your I statements on there, but you can also connect together and talk about what your we statements would be. We are going to be taking those loose papers and turning them in whenever they have the meeting at the end of tomorrow, because we want to make sure that we all know. It's potentially something we may want to put on the website as well, because we want to talk about all the different ways that we can establish these networks. So again, the first one is sharing knowledge. We are now going to give you about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, so that you can talk with each other about those answers to those questions. And then we will be calling on a couple of tables to share with us what they have discovered, the knowledge that's there at your table. Okay?
But it's fun work. It is fun work.
Is there a typo? She's saying spell check.
No, she said, this is work. We didn't know we had to work. I don't know spell check. There is no spell check. I see they went over to the golden eyes, went to the large buttercups. 10 minutes ought to be, so about 1:46 or something like that. Quarter till. Remember to fill out the form. I see a lot of you having a good conversation, so fill out the form that's on your table with that information.
Calling on the tables. So I think it should be. right, 2 more minutes and then we're going to come back and share knowledge.
So everybody understands, you, in your book is that as it is from a personal perspective, the form that's on your table, it goes from I to we. And so now all that collective that as you visit and talk about it, put it on the form from this perspective of the we. Oh. Oh goodness, yes, it started. Give them another minute maybe, because I think they're just starting to write on the form. Where are the extra forms? Oh, under here. Is there more?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
And I don't care if you want to share the I or the we, whichever one's, like when you...
Well, I thought the point was, I figured we can, well, they should...
That table can figure out how to
Yeah.
answer.
Because what they do anyway is kind of make it work for them. Is everybody pretty good with, you've kind of answered most of the questions under the knowledge part? We'll give you about another half minute. What is Liliana doing? Oh.
This is the floor plate in case you want to look at where they're sitting. Well, that's the back.
Oh, I was doing because the writing was that way.
So she even made it for me.
Oh, this is what's warm. I think it's the fan. Okay, we're going to start calling on tables, and we have two ladies, two of our volunteers who have hand mics, so we're going to try to get to you so that everybody can hear your responses. The person I'm going to call on is still talking.
That's okay. Because they're going to continue to talk.
So this goes to when?
This goes to 2:30.
We can turn it in faster if we want for the people.
Yeah, we're trying to crank it along. Okay, so we're going to call on the table that is the giant spider wart. Well, I shook him really well. Yes, that's what I said. But you were busy writing. You were busy working.
Okay, well, between the two of us, we really did some good networking here because we discovered things that we didn't know. But so what we were talking about in terms of knowledge that we had that we would share with somebody else, we were talking about an effort going on with classroom refresh, renovations and alterations, and how I have a group that executes that work, and then I have a group that's going to manage projects that executes that work. asked to do with that I didn't know about. So she shared that with me just now, and that was awesome. But, you know, updated wayfinding, floor plans, space utilization, she had to do other things. I haven't figured that yet. But the point being is that when somebody changes a room, there's a lot more involved than just changing the room. You know, so that was good to hear. We have plans moving forward. But moving on, can I name a time and give an example of what we shared this knowledge before? Well, obviously, this is information that she has shared before, so there's just been a lot of turnover. And like, I've been here a year, this is the first I've heard of it. So good to know, good information. And then what knowledge have we received from somebody else? Well, we constantly get information on projects, proposed projects, things like that from project managers and our big team. And being able to update our systems like Famous and some of the other databases that we have to manage and maintain. And then knowledge that we're hoping to find out from our fellow facility staff is, you know, what projects that are out there that are ongoing or planned that we can, you know, they're going to change the floor plan, use, or configuration. That's information that we need to be aware of.
Awesome.
Awesome. And be sure and put the name of your flower, of your table at the top, because as Jennifer explained, these are going to be collected and then shared with the executive council, just so that they have this information. You can remain anonymous or you can put your name on it. It's up to you. But thank you so much. We're going to draw one more for this particular portion, the 4-nerve daisy table. So can you share your responses?
Okay, so what knowledge do we have that we can share with someone else? We actually have 3 people in our table with architectural experience. So one of the important things that we were talking about is the standardization of certain design elements, such as cold base, ceiling tiles, colors, benches, bike racks, and the importance behind it to help out with our main procedures. All of it, moving bollers, all kinds of things. So that's something that we discussed. Another thing that and very important knowledge is the financial aspect to these different procedures. Something that Lisa helps out a lot with. So she tells us exactly how much certain operations are going to cost us, and what are the implications of changing those processes. So that's very important knowledge that we would like to share.
And what about that third one, the last one? What knowledge have we received from someone else? Do you have something you can share that you received from someone else this morning?
Well, we got to see that how different colleges run. So especially from UHB, it's a smaller operation, but they face a lot of the same issues that we have. So having, for example, with the plumbing's a problem everywhere, not just here. So we get to see how they face it, having a contractor, the importance of having valves, and
Yeah, when they work.
So it's a small detail, but it's something that we're not the only ones.
Yep. Awesome, thanks. Well, we're going to go on to the next category.
Okay, so providing mutual support. So the quote that we found was, encourage, lift, and strengthen one another, for the positive energy spread to one will be felt by us all. Now, providing mutual support is this piece of it, and I did look up support, which you can imagine has so many definitions. The one that we are particularly going to focus on is giving assistance. So if you think of the support definition as giving assistance when you're thinking through this, you're going to, again, take time to write your own answers on your booklet and then hopefully discuss as a table how the we statements come together and you can use it. Whatever I was doing my individual, again, I was continuing with the SAM piece of it. What support do you feel like you can provide to others? My actual thought was that I could review a SAM if that's necessary. If someone else is working on a red line and they're working on it, I can also help them by just reading it and getting my own thoughts and opinions on some of the wordings that they may have changed. Number 2, can you name a time or give an example of when you provided support? I have reviewed other policies, so that's one of the ways that I feel like I can support another office is by reviewing them. What support have you received from someone else? Definitely Peggy is obviously the support that she reads and gives her own insight and understands that she's trying to understand it even though she doesn't work in facilities, any of the ones that go through her office. And then number 4, what support are you hoping to find from a fellow facilities staff? Again, it's similar to where I would love to establish a connection in order to understand who it is at the other universities that I can connect with so that we can get these policies updated. So those are the pieces that I personally wrote on mine. So now is your opportunity, and we'll give you another 10 minutes for you to answer those questions on your own and then hopefully discuss and find out how you can support each other.
So you can probably, depending on time, so there's, if they combine, I believe there's 12 tables. There's between, there might be 13. So if there's 3, then it would be spot drawing 4 of them. But it depends on timing, if you want to end early and just not worry about it, just do 2.
I think I'm just going to do 2. But some won't. But the important thing is they'll have the executive team will have. But I'm using this like I'm being real calm. They won't be calm. I was standing here myself. I don't want to. You're so wicked. That's right. And Ron, I guess what I think that's what you're not one of the minutes. Well, I know that they have more. You must be present for the drawing. Yeah. They're going to be delivered by James on the car tomorrow. They are. They are. Well, and if we have enough, I thought it would be nice. So like if we write those notes to them, and then especially then so yes, I think it's not. But I thought like it was That's probably prejudice, giving that time. Like, yeah, I was doing something. Very impressive. And it's not just the whole what I love about the idea that everybody's in, there's hands. I will be glad. It's been fun. It's nice to end on a Friday too, like so it's like I don't have 2 days to just kind of sit back. Look at all these updates, like about like sitting like You have about 3 more minutes, and then we'll call on a couple more tables to share your we.
You know what? I actually already took the only ones I had. Some Motrin.
I should have brought a couple of
I had like a headache. It's better now. I normally
gonna
fill
say,
my,
did you text Pam?
you know, fill up my pill
See if
thing.
Pam
and I
has
didn't.
Pam? Do you want me to text Pam and ask her? If anyone.
Hold on. I'll be fine. Minor detail. I told you I'd be here unless I was there. So.
We should let you draw. You draw. Indian paintbrush. Oh, good. That's Wheeler's table.
Oh, excellent, Joe.
Yeah, we got that.
Do you draw your second
Yeah,
table?
draw a second table. Yeah. Large buttercup. That's Jerry.
There you go.
Couldn't have picked two better. I'm always going to think of Wagner Buttercup.
So they became Team Buttercup, and GoldenEye got disbanded.
They did. They joined.
Buttercup has such a ring to it, though, where GoldenEye flops.
Yes.
Just doesn't have the same pizzazz.
Well, one of my favorite things is like, what is it? Get over it.
I think I like to say, suck it up.
Suck it up, Buttercup. Mine, for some reason, buck up, Buttercup, but suck it up.
That's a nicer way of saying it.
Yeah.
We haven't lost it.
I don't think so. I mean, there may have been,
One to two shows, I think.
but some of it is too, the tables that only had two have gone elsewhere, so.
Yeah, like Spiderwort there is, and what did you say, two?
The spider wanted to stay there.
Yeah, they seem to have like, but they seem to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and have it. All right, so we're going to call on two more tables to do the same thing that we did recently, but we want you to talk about mutual support. David, would you like to call out the, no, it's one of these two.
Sure, it's giant spiderworts. No,
No, they've already
that's
been.
what he gets for talking about fountains.
So, okay, so large buttercup. That just makes me smile. So if you'd like to share some of the answers to your questions for mutual support, please.
And we actually experienced it right now when we were discussing the various things that we do. The various ways that we provide support, help with the project, etc. But then all Craig got to talking about disposal of campaign and even just beyond pay, access surplus equipment. And Craig started by giving Paul a nonprofit that Paul could bring things to, and then Paul really started talking about changing how they have a policy where they can dispose of, they can donate it to charities, nonprofit. And main campus doesn't do that. We actually pay somebody to take it away and dispose of it as hazardous waste. So we've been basically talking about that whole process this whole time, and that we're going to be contacting Congress and see, rather than paying for the disposal, Congress to donate that over to nonprofits as UHC does.
That's awesome.
So it's that sort of support between campuses. That's exactly what we need to do, where we have shared processes. Let's find out what those are, and if there's a better way of doing it than what we're currently doing.
Good, thanks. Anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Okay. Thank you, large buttercup. Okay, now the next group we're going to call on is Indian paintbrush.
Awesome. I'm gonna stand up. Get the mic. We wanted this one because we didn't want to talk about the last group, so we want to, the last section, so we're happy to do this. What support do we feel that we can provide to others? Managing personnel. We all collectively have done that in the past, so we feel that that's something that we can help provide. Broad range of facility management experience. So for people that are new to the facility management, we have a broad range of experience. And then moral support and lessons learned. And that was mine, because I don't want people to make the same mistakes I do and learn from my mistakes and my scars and everything. So, okay, can you name a time or give an example when we provided support? We worked with HR on personnel disciplinary issues, which is very important. I think a lot of us have to manage those issues, and so that was very good. Civil site utilities and projects. Whenever projects are being managed and planned on campus, you have to learn about what's underground and what's that going to affect and how that'll affect the project and how it'll work in the future. And help develop online hiring process to where they could go online real time and see where the applicant was with this process of he or her. What support we received from someone else. Expertise in areas from other universities. So they would reach out to other universities and find out what they did in this particular instance and how they overcame that problem. Sage advice regarding, oh, wait, wrong. I'm on number 4, right? Yep. No. I'm on number advice regarding personnel issues. That seems like it was on two different ones. Okay, so sage advice regarding personnel issues. It was a little different than an HR issue. And then the last one, OGC support and personnel issues. So that all has themes from all of us that we've all had to deal with personnel issues. Okay, what support we are hoping to find from our fellow facility staff? I can't get my writing. Share experience from others. Understanding the University of Houston system. And we are not the first person to experience this issue. So that's what we collectively came up with.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay, so for our last section, networking is more about farming than it is about hunting. So this was an interesting quote, but it is talking about the relationship that you're having with farming is that you're planting a seed and you're letting it grow and you're establishing those networks and keeping those relationships together and so that they're nurtured. When you're hunting, you've just got that one time, that's it, and there's no more relationship there. So we want to establish networks where they're continuing. It's been said that 6 degrees of separation from Kevin Bacon, right? So maybe in this room we could get there. That's not our goal today, so you don't have to worry about that. But we do want to make sure that we are establishing some networks that go beyond this room. Because there are other people and there's other things that we could share. Oh, I know someone else that could help you with that. That's not in this room. So what we want to do is continuing with my example and going through mine. Again, like I said, I would obviously, what networking would I feel I could provide? I would introduce someone to Peggy because she's obviously is definitely, as number 2, the subject matter expert on that. So she is the number 1 person. She knows those backwards and forwards, and she is the person who would be the best. Now, number 3, what networking have you received from someone else? So I actually changed topics and I went to something else in my head on that one. And I wrote down Ashley from real estate because the networking I have received from that is that I know the real estate office now. I know Jason, I know Ingrid, and I know Janelle. And I know that I could pick up the phone at any time because of Ashley's networking with me that I'm able to connect with them. And I know Janelle does the same thing with me to where she'll get a piece of mail and just email it to me and say, I have no idea where this goes in facilities. Can you please help me? So that's the piece of networking that is great to do beyond facilities. Who else can you network with? And again, what networking are you hoping to establish? For me, it's still about the policy coordinators. If any of the universities have a particular policy coordinator that can help me with some of the SAMs that we're working on, that would be great. So that's what I personally would want. So again, we're asking you to go back to your questions for your individual questions and then go back to your we questions and answer them collectively.
Okay, so go ahead and start. We'll give you about 10 minutes. And again, look at the section that has to do with establishing networks.
Policy coordinator? You know Peggy Libby, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to say, if you don't know her, she's like the person that does all the policies.
Yes. Yeah, she's a general.
And actually Peggy is in staff council right now.
And I wrote them because we only get a certain number of meetings you can miss. And so I wrote the parliamentarian who's the one who keeps the membership and records. And she said, thank you for letting me know that, and because that was me. So I guess we can just stick with 2. And I don't think you should dismiss them for break. I think you should say, let's go do a big topic, and then from this therapist, you can go to your break and we have a freshman. Because it's a good putting it to and
Well, he said he wanted to hear if yes. So we made a sneaker. But then what else was it? They need to do it. So we need to go out. So we need to have them let us know. I mean, go out there and say you will sign up if you didn't need to.
That's what I'm saying before, so we can wrap up and then say, okay, it's a great time, but before you go on break, we're gonna take a photo and make sure if you signed up for the tournament.
Jennifer, almost 2:30 for the dance. It's gonna end before.
It's gonna like let's see, golden flocks we can't do. I guess there's somebody, I guess there, where's, like, so they have plenty of people. I'm gonna do wine cut, because that's long. Okay, you have about a minute more, and then we're gonna draw 2 more tables. So are all the volunteers down here, or they're out there?
I told them we're taking a picture.
Because like there's nobody up there,
They're probably out here because that's
except for Angie.
See if I can draw a giant spider word again.
Do you want to do
That'll
it?
teach him to
Here.
pick up fountains again.
Well, we don't, they've already been done, so you have to draw out
Giant
one.
spider word.
So we just need 2. So who'd you pick?
I don't know. I'm looking.
Oh yeah, that's Lily. That's Liliana and the one Lantana.
Is this the last 2?
Yeah, it's the last 2. So you picked up Lantana.
I'm just sort of randomly looking here for the right person. I don't care.
If we're gonna take a picture.
There you go.
Okay, so the first table we're going to call on is purple coneflower. Purple coneflower.
I think that's,
I feel like I'm calling bingo. That's Ward and them.
oh, it's words.
We're pretty much having to make the first 2 because we have on number 4 for quite a while. Networking that we feel that we can provide to others. We're pretty strong in the HVAC field here and also electrical.
getting with each other and learning each other's contractors. Who works in an area for us might not work in an area for someone else, but their system might be better than what we have now, and trying to figure out how to better each other's facilities as we move forward in time to come. Number two, the name of time, give an example of the next working opportunity. I mean, pretty much every day we talk to our peers and everybody around us. I mean, we try to help everybody. I don't know anybody here I've asked the question to that didn't have not an answer, but a direction that I can turn into and go and help me out for what I have back in Victoria. That's one of the wonderful things. That's kind of what got us stuck on number 4 the most. Is seeing this keep going. What networking are we hoping to establish in this facility stack? We're hoping to see this go, maybe expand it. I mean, we've talked about how maybe a campus that's never had housing before gets with folks from housing and ask, what are we going to run into? What do we need to start worrying about now? What do we staff up for? How do we do a make ready during the summer when we've never even heard of it? Things like that. And then also how, if we can bring it down to the next level below, where say your building managers meet up once a year for the same thing and meet with FP&C and architects and everybody and say, hey, look, this is what works for me at this campus, and it's coming up in these buildings, but it doesn't work for us. It works for y'all, but it doesn't work for us. Something like that. Going back to number 3, what have we received from someone else? Me personally, from a TAPA conference, electrical metering from a gentleman from Dallas Community College. It's a very low-cost metering system out of Wisconsin, and it works. It's cheap. So that's pretty much where we're at.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so our last table we're going to draw on, and I would like to hear from is Prairie Verbena. Where's Prairie Verbena?
Right there.
Oh, Juju and them.
Networking are we hoping to establish from a fellow facility staff? The UH Clear is going to have housing, residential housing, so believe it or not, we will be reaching out to all of y'all, especially system, please do not charge us any more extra fees.
You've been around David Bradley.
We provide internship for free during Make Ready. Great experience learning.
By the way, on Make Readies has come up several times. Tomorrow morning, first thing, we have a panel discussion, and I know for a fact we will be discussing Make Readies in depth. So those that are interested, please make that one, because we'll have our experts there that have, how many Make Readies have we done this year already, Craig?
About 6,000.
Yeah, so they know what to do.
And before Jennifer's going to wrap this up, there was one thing I wanted to say, and it touches on what you're talking about. So we've made this great network. At conferences, symposiums, workshops like this, it's really common to do a business card share. And so I would invite everybody to bring plenty of business cards tomorrow morning when you come, and you can just put them in stacks out on your desk table, and then people can walk by and pick up the business card. Some of you may have already done that, but I think that'd be great. I know I would love to have y'all's business cards, so I just wanted to share that, and then Jennifer's going to wrap this up.
Okay, so your last quote, your network is the people who want to help you, and you want to help them, and that's really powerful. So thank you for participating. We hope that you were able to think about ways to share knowledge, contemplate ways to provide support to each other, and have now established networks. So we have a couple of things before break time. So
Yes, so we're going to take a group photo, and we're gonna do it out on the stairs out here in the hallway. Henry Anderson has agreed to be our photographer, so he's going to do that. So what?
right now.
Right now, oh, you missed the part, I'm sorry. So before we go to break, we want to do, you can come back in and have something to break. But we want to take the photo, get that done, and then also while you're out there, if you did not have an opportunity and you would like to sign up for the tour of the indoor football practice facility, there'll be some volunteers stationed out there, and you can sign up and you get a really cute little ticket to be able to get on the bus. But please, 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 if you want to do that, I think there's still some openings, and so we'd love to have you go. It will be a guided tour. Trent Williams, our senior director for project management, has agreed, and it was his project, so he's going to serve as a tour guide and answer your questions. I think that's it. So,
All right, so let's move to the staircase and take a picture, and then you can enjoy the lovely snacks, desserts that we have on the back table.
yes.
You tell this building is. Analog component RGB, that's good.
Okay. So everything goes, the microphones go in there. There's bags, this one.
How many of these are there?
There's one. There's just one that's out. I think the rest are in here somewhere. There's a drawer.
So, so there's one out of these out there?
Yeah, and then there's two of these. There should be two bags. But
So you just flick it off?
Yeah, there's just a on-off
and then put
button.
them down there?
Yeah, but this is the off button I want to show you. See that little red light?
Yeah.
Way in the back?
Oh, okay. So this shuts off, two microphones in there, this there, and then shut off over there.
No, she's got that big.
want me to introduce you, or do you want to just?
I'm good.
You're good.
I can take care of
You can
myself.
introduce yourself.
Actually, I'll take that.
Okay. Yeah. That way you can.
That way I can walk.
You'll just have to turn it on.
I guess these are pretty sensitive.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a few more minutes. And you said you're just gonna pass off to Gisela when you're done.
Well, I'll touch on this. We do.
I hope the cartoons show up a little bit.
Well, I did this, and now that I think about it, you've already done this. So I may get to this and just say something to you. No problem.
You don't want to take a picture?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, absolutely. So
I think you should. I mean, you can always touch on that a little bit.
Well,
there is something to be said for reinforcing the importance of those aspects.
Well, it's just that it feels redundant at this point. I didn't realize how you were going to more or less, and I don't want to hammer people in, so
okay.
I'll.
Well, maybe this is just a suggestion. If you wanted to touch that and just say that because the dialogue is open now, that it's important for, now that you have your facilities council, right, that you want to make sure that that becomes a living, breathing, it's up to you. That's just a fancy way, but you know.
That's what I was thinking is just put it in context of moving forward.
Moving forward. Because you don't want it to stop here, and too many times stuff like that can stop.
Plus, I want to make sure my Gilbert.
Yeah, see, you got to get the cartoon. Even if you say just ignore the first bullet, but let me do the cartoon, you're going to get a laugh. Okay, we're going to start again in about 2 minutes. So if you could find your seats again, if you want a glass of lemonade or tea, something sweet, grab something. And we're going to get on with the rest of the program. We have one more presentation this afternoon and then the tour. So we'll get everybody together.
This is pretty much the last time we'll see me till.
Do what?
This is the last time I'll be doing anything till the closing.
Till closing, I guess, yeah. So we'll go ahead and.
Is this how we're flipping?
You can do it here or you can do it there. And this does actually have, if you needed to, you can.
How do I?
Oh, point.
Yeah, I saw it a minute ago. Yeah, it's the red.
To move forward is this way. Right?
To move forward is this way, and if you need the pointer, it's the little red thing at the top. Okay.
What happened to large buttercup? We'll talk about sharing resources here in just a moment. After this is the tour trip. Raise your hand so you can know who you are. prepared to leave at the door. It's annual football practice facility, that facility, many people have seen or ever played the field. It's very unique in that respect, so if you've never seen one, feel free to look in. I think it's very unique. So it's very short door, not going to go there a long time. It's not what you want to see, there's not a lot of places to go with a football field. So it's very good. I want to talk about shared resources a little bit. And I think this, to me, sort of sums up the okay? And I know I don't feel like we're going to slog and they're going to, but I want to make sure that we sum up in terms of how many things to work there. So everyone might size up the book, so we can all do see it in humor. And you all are something that I have one on that. But, so as this, I think, illustrates that together we're a lot stronger than if we're wrong. And I think we've had that conversation many times at the tables and everything. So I think this will help us going forward. So, yeah, I do represent that very well. I do want to talk about a few of the things that we do have shared resources on are available to you. First is the master plan. You heard me all. She's done a very, very good job with what she's been passing. So what you saw is what she's been passing. You know, there are other opportunities. I think there's some other universities that benefit from our craft and our expertise. I'm not an educator, I'm not an advertiser. But I think that those areas are something that she's more than happy to take control of. If there was more interest in her being involved in the university. So I like my thing there. I do want to mention that for master planning, that is actually reported to the board. So we're required each year to go from board meetings, and each university has to do this. You know, we stagger from one to one day, so they're staggered, and we go with one of the board. It is something that more readers is definitely interested in. And so that important to that cannot hold this. One of the new things that we've got training those folks to do that I personally thought was very, very important to us being able to bring a level of expertise to the table was providing engineering support to us as a university system. I love architects, but I think we need to balance it. And actually, we have an engineering team in the room to provide that level of technical consultation that is the best in the university. We can bring in consultants until we're doing the best. And they'll pay them a very handsome fee to be in the room. But at the end of the day, you might have another consultant on another project who's it's not Johnson over the one, and this one's seen it before. The next one's under, the next one's some open proprietary source. Before you know it, we got all these big systems on campus. Last time I checked, and I don't see anybody. How many systems?
It's Lisa and I.
As you can imagine, maintenance requirements of that, training, parts, you have that many systems that all do the same thing. That was a lack of forethought on what our facility. So I've asked, and when I pushed very hard to get engineering staff to go in, they didn't pay for it. Here's our mechanical engineer, like, got plans already, so he's put together a very detailed electrical preferred maintenance program that is already pitching. And so he will spend the money to go ahead and save it. And some. But these folks, if you got another one, we'll have simple. I didn't get it ready, not planning, no planning. And there's a civil needs to be done. So we will have civil at some point that we have to. But together, these three disciplines are the big three. And with those three in hand, they can help tackle any issues or so they are open, ready on. Well, I'm not part of your SAP, so if you're looking for that level of a big house, now remember, there's one joiner, I have two. But if you need a quick pass on, okay, does this make sense? If you need to look at this, what's a good idea here? They're ready. Now, I'm not trying to do this, you want to provide weeks or months of time. Or I'll just make that system to you. But they can also help you with drawing reviews, I remember some other things here, sustainability, and I think about coming into here, so I like that. If they were there at their table, they're there to take you, not just from general companies, but from other areas to help bring consistency, so we don't have nine building automation systems or whatever else that's all different areas. All heavy into it. Perfect. We have to report per minute supported. But I don't know if everybody knows that or not. Oh, we did. It's in November. We, right now, are reporting it basically based on 5-year output. And each university sort of does it a little different. What we tried to do over the last cycle is to show how we are around this. We provided a couple times a format for each university report the numbers in the same context, the same sort of perspective. But you can quickly go after one thing. To help us understand our different things that and I will tell you we do have it. On this campus here, we're looking at probably close to 400. So this is not, this is a substantial issue. The campuses of other universities, I think, will have less. Obviously, they're small, but at the same time, I don't think you're going to underestimate what that number is. And you can see here, this is an interesting one. The coordinating board recently asked us how much of our people have we were spending for that. What does that tell you? It's about half. I mean, the legislative session starts here in the spring. If we at universities are not spending the people that are interested in the first things that are spending on the things, that's a conversation that probably doesn't go away. We're only spending 25%. Now, I'd love to screen down and shut up all of our so, but at the same time, you have to understand that's what the whole concept is about, is how to deal with the permanent issues. So if you're not using on that, if your university is not using on that, that's a lost opportunity and it's going to cause us some policy conversation. So I'm not here preaching to the fire about those things. And I know I've got this one CFO and somebody's smiling at me. And I understand it because they've always competed fire. But it is something that I think will be a problem for not covered. So you need to understand it. Now, how many people are going to investigate it? That's good. I know the plan is close to that. Maybe it's operating people. Is it a facility condition assessment? That's a assessment of your facility where you bring in all the people that will come in, you look at your facility and what kind of maintenance is that facility. If you've not done that recently, you really don't have a good idea what your facility is. Now, you may know the category and building that energy system and those new probably replaced. Okay. may not know that electrical panel in there, which still works, it's not a problem, but it's now being old as well. You need to look at it. You don't know if that roof. See, those are things that I think from the perspective of the facility side, especially maintenance side, you tend to get wrapped up in the what's broke, what I know is broke. And stuff that's not showing up as being broken yet, it's close to it, really needs to be identified. And that's what this is. Don't come here and look at that. Don't look at that fire on hell, 25 years old. And it's close to the end of its life. It's not really a little bit problem. You'll look at this and say, okay, you need to pay on the So, you know, you can look at it a lot of ways, some components, and maybe we should look at, plan meetings. And that's fine. There's a lot of ways to sort of slice and dice and stuff. The preferred maintenance for us, if you have an FDA, you're really kind of going by the other privileges you got or what you got. And I think that's the thing you're supposed to do. So I would suggest that all of the universities want to look at closely at doing this. If this will happen, we have 3 contractors in place for our item activities at the U.S. So I would suggest if you haven't had one of those many, do what they're doing. We're going to here. Causes of vulnerability, we're looking at over 3 recyclers, that type of thing. So we'll do a third campus each year. So things probably, so we'll have it updated with this. And then I say 400 million, I say, put off my thing, I don't have to. That's based on data that's many years old. So we need to be a lot, keeping up with this. Not doing this good. Personal experience. When we started, sort of, it so happens that about, 2 years ago, when here. Something popular problems. We have a large number of our contracts come due. And they're at the end of their life. So we began putting these contracts back out on the street. She's got a hold of this stuff and everything. And there are a lot of them. And when we started that process, what we did was we said, listen, let's not limit the just one of the let's open up system. So we did that. So every one of these contracts that are up here right now are open for any university use. I was saying, what meetings approved. And I'm going to go back to the board. So there is a whole host of services, anything from design work, neighborhood work, hiring hospitality work, dock work. So these are there for you to get. So if you're going to go out and re-procure these, that's how long we're going to play with. Don't be against the user. They're there. Companies that are fine. We've vetted most of them already. So grab a few of them, and save yourself some hard work and a lot of purchasing part of a lot of effort to stop what we did. So these are there for your use. So feel free to use these. And I'm going to sell it in a moment. She is our contracts manager. There you go, thank you. And she is the one that if you need to use one, she's come up with a simple one-page form. If you go out to her, and you get that information she needs to write the service order, just say it. Is that correct? All right. And probably you can't remember that. Okay. So if that's something, you really is that something. Okay. So don't hesitate to do it. I'm encouraging you. You're going to put a lot of effort because we want to be in and service everybody who wants to do it. As you can see, there's a whole list of them. SBA, one of them, but we have a lot.
Can you clarify, you said that's a motion?
not know about it, so. How much did you pay me?
All right, we have an assistant director position for this, currently being interviewed. So, sellers of the. Right? So, now the next one is kind of a wrap-up slide. That's not bad, I know that, but wait, they're only going to do some selling, but she's going to take it here for excuse me. Recently I was going to start going on the table, but you know what, I saw what was done in something such as what is that, I don't know what a lot of these things push time on it, but these are things that I want to make sure we keep going forward. What type of services would you like to see? I mean, you say, hey, I want to see, underwater passage contract. Some people want it, we'll figure it out for next week. Okay. So think about that. We're going to have the executive council, and that's your representative. So if we really see something that, hey, let's keep this in place, let them know what that is, and you will want to put it in. We've got a lot of talent, and we'll do whatever they say. Or if it's an in-house function. If you say, hey, I really want civil structural in there, somebody with structural in there, but somebody's harassing me all wrong, then that's something we look at, or whatever approach. We have process. If I don't have process in, so, that's what it's going to do. We talked about this, they're talking about components, services, system share. Again, same concept. If you have something that you're putting in the contract on this week, I encourage you to make it a system. Say, hey, any other community can do it. Why don't we get to the fair, or downtown, and make it out of it as well. And then just another opportunity for you. We talked about this a lot today, and I don't want to talk about it. We already talked a lot about emergency management, one, Jeff Benjamin. Everybody knows Jeff, Mr. Spider, the Spider. We're going to talk about bid rates tomorrow, and it's got a nice panel for us. We're going to talk about the planning process, and then there's one other one. Real estate. We're going to get dirt. We're going to do dirt. So the real estate merchant will talk about how they do this. So that's something to happen tomorrow. But this is something, if you see something here, I'm sure I'll be here monthly. Somebody thinks this would be a great idea. Or if not, tell your executive council member, what it is to do. That being said, I thought this was a key thing. I know people very bad at that. I told you I put it out for you. Right? Questions from me? I think the energy levels. Very good. All right. That being said, I will let Ms. Casella go through some of the details of the accessing the contracts that we talked about.
Thank you, David.
Oh, there it is. Hello, everyone. I'm Gisela. I went in a little bit later, so I don't think I've made it around to every table. So for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Gisela Salazar, and I am currently the construction contracts manager. I am under the.
Can you use the mic just so that?
Am I?
No, as long as you're not loud enough, I want to make sure it's picked up in our video as much as possible. Or you can stand up there and
forgot you were filming.
Sorry about that. So, and myself and my group, we report directly to Al Rajan. And so, as David mentioned, we have a bunch of services under contract, 16 of them to be exact currently, that provide continuing services. They're available to the components. So currently it's 50 total contracts, and I'm gonna have a list at the very end of the presentation, and it's also published in the actual booklet that you guys got a copy of. It's a working document, so it'll be updated regularly. It'll be published online, and so I encourage you to revisit the document regularly so that you can get the most current information. So as I mentioned, there's 50 total continuing services agreements. So we've gone through the solicitation process for all of these professional services, for geotechnical, for A&E. We've done all of that for you. We've qualified them. The different project managers have taken lead at each one of these services, and they're there, and as David mentioned, they're available for your use. So, I made the process as simple as I possibly could. We have to gather a little bit of information. So, facilities, business operations, and compliance. So compliance is the big piece. We have a lot of reporting requirements, and so we want to make sure that we remain compliant. And so that's why we have to be involved in the loop. But we're absolutely happy to share whatever resources we have, so that we can make things easier on you as well. And so some of the services, and there's 16 of them. I've got them all listed here. We've got AE, we've got even AE that's specific to hospitality and dining. And so, why would we do that? The dining piece under the AE can be charged as an additional service. So if you have it just as a separate piece, you don't get that additional markup, so that helps your budget some. We have geotechnical investigation. Just yesterday or the day before, UHD reached out to our office and said, hey, we found a basement under a parking lot. So I need a geotechnical guy. So I said, Tim, here's who we have. Go ahead, give them a call, get yourself a proposal, and we'll issue a project agreement for him. I told him I'd follow up this afternoon and get him a project agreement, and he can get geotechnical out there to see what he needs to do to fix his basement issue so that he can have parking at the start of the school. And we've got materials testing, we've got surveying, we've got TAB, commissioning, landscape, all that good stuff. A lot of these, you'll notice when we get to the list, they are going to expire. The term will expire 8/31/2018, but they've all been procured. So we're in the process of awarding, and so we'll have some new stuff coming down the pipeline quickly. So, for example, commissioning, our new commissioning agents are with our legal department now. We'll get those back, and we'll have 3 new agents come 9/1. My list will be updated accordingly once those have been signed off by the chancellor. Auditing services, asbestos, and other environmental remediation. We've got programming, we've got MEP, and then as David mentioned, the facilities condition assessments. So if you guys need to use any of those, they are available for your use. Additionally, we have some job contractors, and we have emergency response. So job contractors, we're talking, so there's 5 total, and it's small renovation projects. Currently, we're limited. We have an internal budget that's been established at $250,000. But that doesn't mean if you have a project that's $300,000 that you can't say, hey, can I still consider this? Because then I would just reach out to David and say, here's what we've got. We're thinking it might be $300,000. Can you get us permission to go forward with a job order contractor? And David will reach out to his boss, and 99% of the time it's go ahead. So we've got 5 of those that are on the list, so I'll share those with you shortly. Minor construction, it's got to be of a recurring nature, so keep that in mind. Minor construction, recurring nature, less than $250,000. So if you're renovating a suite, new office, generally labs are more costly, so they wouldn't fall under this, but keep in mind you don't have to solicit a small renovation because we've got resources for you. And then we have currently 2 contractors that are under contract for emergency response. We're working on a third facility side. So Jerry Bogna is actually the gentleman who leads our emergency response program. And keep in mind, emergency, you deal with the emergency first, and then we talk about contracting later. So that's the only time you can just, give us a call. We'll connect you with Jerry. We'll connect you with the contractor. If you have an emergency, no, you do not need to have a contract in place before the contractor comes out. Please deal with the emergency, and then we'll talk paperwork later, and you'll be okay. Okay. So the list of contracts, as I mentioned, we'll have it published. It's currently published on the SharePoint, but I don't know if the component universities have access to that. But if you don't, we'll make sure that you guys have access to it and that it's readily available for you. It'll be published online, and then I've created a CSA JOC emergency response forms specifically for the component universities. So those of you that are here with facilities and that have seen me go through this presentation before, it's going to be a little bit different because this is strictly for the components, and this is how our office is going to assist the components. For the CSAs, there's the actual agreement is called a continuing services agreement, and so I routinely say a CSA, and each one of those agreements has an Exhibit A that lists a scope of services. Those Exhibit A's are listed are published online on the legal website, and so I've shared the link with you guys. I'll make sure that that it's readily available and that you can hyperlink to it, because you want to make sure that if you're calling out geotechnical or whatever it is that you need, that it's covered scope, right? We still want to remain compliant with what's there, and in the event that you were to see something in the exhibit and you think, hey, well, the structural guy should really also do this, or the structural firm should really also be able to do this, then give us that feedback and we'll be happy to visit that so that during our next solicitation process we can make sure that we include that stuff. We always try to put a little something in the end that says anything else that owner might feel falls under this scope of services. So we try to cover ourselves, but in the event that we miss something, or if you see something that's really that would really benefit all of us, we're not looking to reinvent anything. So just share it with us, and we'll take the feedback. We evaluate it as a group, and we're happy to make the adjustments as necessary. All right. So my group, you can think of us as your personal little buy board. So we've got the 50, 60 contracts now. That number will go up a little bit once the new awards, because we'll have more contractors on TAB and more contractors on landscape architecture. So that number will go up. So we're your little buy board. You don't have to solicit for any of this. This will be the form for the component campuses is 5 little form fields. It's just the information, or a few little form fields, information that I have to collect for my reporting requirements, and just so that I make sure that I remain within a dollar level that's been approved by the board. David takes a lot of these agreements to the board, and we only have a little bit of wiggle room from what they've approved, and we want to make sure that we go back if there's an issue, if we need more money. So the form will be automated as well. So it'll have a little button on the right-hand corner that says submit. You'll click that form, and it'll immediately create an email that'll go to our contracting inbox. And so, you can, the form's right up here. You can see it's date of request, your name, what's the name. I need to know how you're going to pay for it. Some of the form is going to duplicate what's in your proposal, but that's intentional because I want to make sure that we're capturing what you want, because you might request a proposal where you say you want a structural analysis, and then what is it going to cost to build it, and if the structure can support it. But at this time, you just want to do the analysis. So but you might have pricing for everything, and so this will help us sort of figure all of that out. And so you fill out the form where the services requested section is. Right there, that'll be a drop box. So you just pick whether you need geotech, whether you need A&E, and you pick that. You tell me a little bit about your scope. Tell me how many calendar days you're you need to do the work. You review your list. That'll be published, and you say, okay, I need geotechnical services. I'm going to reach out to Terracon. The contacts that are on that list are the people that I have repeatedly communicated with, and I have never had any issues, and they are also the individuals listed in their statements of qualifications. So we always ask for a single point of contact, and that individual is responsible for making sure that the team, that their team on their end understands sort of our needs and what needs to happen. And so that individual is the one who then in turn gives the assignment on their end. And so try to stick with that contact, because that's the people that I have found are more responsive. And so you email the individual that's on the list, and you tell them, hey, I want you to give me a quote for so-and-so and using, you know, the existing UHS contract. They'll prepare something for you, they'll email it to you. You complete the form, click the submit button that's going to be up here in this corner, which goes directly to Outlook, and then you add this completed form and your proposal. And then there you'll have a body of the email if you want to include anything there that we need to know, any specific instructions that we need to know, or anything special. You know, you complete that, put that in your email. So that comes to our contracting mailbox, and it's available to quite a few of us, about 4 or 5 of us. And we will issue an agreement for you. We'll issue either a job order or a project agreement. We'll make sure that everything gets logged, and we will return it to you. And it shouldn't take very long at all. I mean, we're talking as long as you do your part and I have a proposal and I have the form completed, you should have it within 24 hours. Then you secure your signatures. And then in the end, please just make sure that I have a fully executed copy. We have a big bank that holds everything. And the contract will just go in there, and in the event that somebody needs to research that particular project later, we'll have a copy of the contract if they need it. So get a copy of the fully executed. You're going to secure signatures on your end according to your signature authority policy and all that good stuff, and you're ready to go. Once you've got all of that secured, you shoot it back to the contractor, say, you know, please proceed with the work. And then return a copy to us so that we can have a copy for it. When we return the project agreement to you or the job order to you, those will be form fields. There'll be form fields in there. So if you see something, we'll date your schedule out, 2 or 3 weeks, because that's generally how long it takes to get signatures. But those are all on or before dates. So if you get it fully executed within 24 hours, then you can release your contractor to start services within 24 hours. So, but feel free to go in there and, revise those dates to suit whatever it is that you want to do. But we just take however many calendar days you say you're going to need to get the services done, and that's how we come up with your schedule. And we date it out a little bit to give time to get through the signature process. So feel free to do that. Okay, so just a few things to keep in mind. Contract dollar amounts, they shouldn't exceed $250,000. If you have a special request, let us know, and we can see if it's something that we can do. The list that follows, as I mentioned, working document. I've got a lot of these that will expire 8/31. Those are in the pipeline. Those will be updated. We'll have new contacts, and if in the event that you should reach out to somebody and somebody's not being responsive, also let me know so that I can pick up the phone and make a phone call and make sure that that we've got the proper person in place. They're supposed to notify me when somebody retires or when somebody switches jobs, and I don't always get the notification until somebody tries to email a contractor and they don't get a response back. So, so our role is simply we'll ensure that the master agreements meet all state agency and UHS reporting requirements, so you don't have to worry about that. One of the things that I've mentioned earlier is all of my delivery methods, all of my contracts have been updated to include the no boycott Israel clause that we have to include with everything. So just know that it's already in there. It's a provision in the contract that when they signed off on my master agreement, they've agreed that they're not going to boycott Israel during the term of the agreement. So, and we're going to get into the list. right. We've got 9 individuals on A&E. You'll see HOK is on there twice because they offer just the A&E services, and then they also do the hospitality and dining. So those are all fairly new. These are all 5-year agreements, so we do 3 initial terms with 2 renewal options, assuming they're performing. If there's any issues, we might reconsider renewing, but we haven't had any issues to date, at least not with the continuing services. These are the ones, so the ones that are italicized are the W4s. Those are the ones that have been in place for quite a while now, so it's time to renew them, and all of these services have gone out. So these will be updated quickly. So if you have something that needs to be done, let me know now so we can get it in place before the term expires on 8/31/2018. And we can certainly do that. We can, as long as I get a project agreement with a schedule that starts on 8/30, we're good to go. So, and even if it extends beyond the term of the contract, there's no issues. All right. So, and you'll notice that some of these firms will they'll do geotechnical investigation, and they'll also do TAB or something. Some of these firms are pretty big. Terracon does geotechnical. They also do asbestos. So just make sure that you're being quoted under the right services. We've got, those are facilities programmers, MEP. There's your facilities condition assessments down at the bottom, and these are all fairly new as well. So we've got plenty of time on these, and you're welcome to use them for any needs. Okay, these are our job order contractors. You'll see some little notes down at the bottom, little asterisks there. So the 5 job order contractors that we have on board, we're currently, for JT Vaughn Construction, Mr. Oliver has requested that we talk to him before we issue any work to Vaughn Construction. So that's why that's got a little asterisk there. And anything that's got the double asterisk, that's your hub vendor, and we like our hubs. So they're there, and so far it seems they've been performing. So if you guys have any issues, let me know. Oops. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the 2 emergency response contractors, A-Status, Cotton Commercial. The other vendor that was awarded was Blackman Mooring, and we're still waiting on a contract, but we'll have that in place hopefully soon. But that completes the contracting piece of it. The information, the buy board, the internal buy board that we have. Any questions for me? Yay!
By the way, it's not because I don't love JP or by the way. One of the things when you start looking at a job, if the premier job is a coefficient that they did, so they use means as the basis for their estimate, and they mark that up as a coefficient. Just for your estimation, the bottom coefficient is 15% higher than any of the others. You're paying 50% more on the I've made it sort of mandatory payment. But you know, make sure we're clear on why we're doing a lot of them and why they're better than the other people. So that's why I'm trying to put that big value. Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to explain JP wrong. Vaughn and Phil, I'm trying to repeat myself here, probably for those who did hear me. The coefficient that they bid on their contract is 15% higher than the others. So you will pay 15% more on a project just to engage Vaughn. Because they should all be bidding it off of means, which means the base bid should be the same. So their coefficient is just much higher. So that's why I sort of put a, hey, check with me before we do this. Is this really what they want to do? Is there no other option with the other jobs? So, but other than that, I have no issues with Vaughn. They do good, excellent work for the projects we have. Any other questions? We probably should put the coefficients up there on
The full published list, that we don't have enough room on the slides, but the full published list will have multipliers and all that information in there. And I'll add phone numbers for emergency response so you can just reach out to them. I encourage when you're communicating with the vendors that you do it in writing, just so you have the communication in writing. And that's the fastest way that I found that they respond, because they're sometimes out in the field, so you don't always get a you don't always get a response via telephone, but I'll add phone numbers for the emergency response.
Yeah, I think we have a question.
Yes, I know that you said that the post will be provided by the RS teams, but can we still negotiate price with photos, or just need?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way we can. As I said, the contract is set up to use RS meetings, but I think that when you start providing locality factors, and the meetings doesn't necessarily address every single item of work, which means they're going to come to the table with unpriced items that aren't in the meeting. So you will get into a situation where you'll likely be negotiating. So you can, that's no problem. If they're willing to, but they can hold firm to their means quote and say, this is it, this contract is out, it's what I'll use. Many will do that in some cases. But, you know, I'm just getting, I don't want to get into the job too much. Jobs are excellent. I think you do need to manage them, and that's why there is a limit on it, because they are to a certain degree. I won't say non-competing, because we did compete them, but there is an element of kind of going directly to the contractor that you have to be conscious of. While means provides the basis of cost, other aspects, there are games that we play with you. It is just contractors trying to make money. Quantities is the most likely place they'll change quantities on you or estimate higher on the quantities. So just be aware of that when you're dealing with jobs. Make sure you have some controls in place and you're reviewing their estimate very thoroughly before you lock in on work. Question, Barry?
Now, I have a question, but I also want to add something to what David was saying. Earlier, he indicated that our planning department has a cost estimator on staff. He has been working a lot with RS needs, so when you deal with a job contractor, you can reach out to our cost estimator to help you look at the project. He can help you with those negotiations. My question.
Yes.
Goes back to the CSA.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the exhibits in the contract, Exhibit A, has a form that you can use to reach out to those individuals where you give the scope of work and you ask for the cost, and that is available for your use too. Are we asking our brothers and sister campuses to use that exhibit as well?
That's great. I'm going to defer on that one.
Is it the CSA, Barry, that has the project request form, or is it the job order?
Well, I think
they both do.
But it's part of.
We can certainly make it available. It's one of the exhibit that says, you know, hey, here's the contract number, here's what I'm looking for, and then you just email it to the contractor. It's not a requirement as long as you capture what you need in an email. So say, hey, I've got a parking lot that is sinking. I need geotechnical to come out, and need whatever. As long as you capture it in the email, there's no problem. That's just what the form's going to capture. So, but yeah, the form will be available. It's published online now, and yes, you can certainly use the form as well.
It's a tool.
It's a tool, correct. Yes.
I did also want to mention one thing about the emergency response contract, which is just on the engineering term coming, and I know they've been actively soliciting work from certain campuses. I think downtown's already been hit up one. They are, these guys are generally fairly aggressive, and we had an East parking garage fire, and they were there while the smoke was still coming out, trying to work. So they are pretty aggressive, and you might want to warn your folks that now they're saying, we're already in contract, we can be here, and you might want to make sure that there's a pop into that before you kickstart them off. They are more expensive. There is absolutely no denying that. In general, you'll pay about 20% more on one of their contracts than if you did with just a normal contract. So we are aware of that and we engage them. And I try to tell them, okay, when you get to that point when the emergency is over, when you can shut them off, you're financially better position to do that, and then follow up with another contract, a job or something to do some of the bill back if you can't afford to do it that way. If you can, then you just have to live with these guys, because they're there, they're more lives and they're doing what they're for. But if you gotta get back into operations, they're their best bet. I think I see a lot of delays, looks, I think we've burned them out today.
What was that mid-afternoon snack?
And probably would be waiting that 5 minutes when they're quick.
Gisela, I have a
Yes.
question.
Sure.
All of these contracts, who has access to this right now?
The actual fully executed contract? So we, the contracting office has them, and then we have a huge depository where they're maintained. So currently, it's just the main campus that has access to that depository, but as long as you email us, and I encourage that you guys use the PO contract email, which is published throughout this document, just because there's several people that are visiting that box. And in the event that I'm out of the office, if you just say, hey, can I see a copy of the fully executed contract for geotechnical services with Terracon? Erica or any one of my other staff members can provide that for you.
So is there a master list that you can make it available to everybody?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So it's going to look very similar to what you're seeing today. It'll just be updated to capture all the new contractors that will be on board effective 9/1. And as I mentioned, I update it regularly.
There is one in your
And so, yes, it will be published online. As I mentioned earlier, we currently have it on SharePoint, but I'm not sure that the component universities have access to SharePoint. So as soon as I confirm that, then it's available to you. Otherwise, we will make it available to you on the Facilities Construction Manager website under Resources for Staff.
So can we have your email address?
Absolutely, yes, and it's actually oh, it didn't print on the, but yes, I will share cards with everyone and make sure that you guys have my contact.
Go ahead and share your email.
Oh, just now? Okay. It's GSALA, Z as in zebra, A, the number 3, at central.uh.edu. Yes, and please use that email. I do have another email that's my student email, and I just, from when I was a student, but this is the appropriate email. Thanks.
He's got an awesome group that work for him, and stole one Carolina recently as well, so.
Yes, I really do have an awesome group. I can't do this alone. They help me.
Yeah, we got the lesson. One question before we roll off the tour. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is there any last housekeeping there, Jackie, for?
No. Other than the tour will start gathering,